Dr. Shujit Brahmachari, Director, Institute for Indian Mother and Child, coming from Calcutta. The project is working in Calcutta in Bengal. In my childhood also, in my high school time, in my university time, the influential people was Gautam Buddha, Mahatma Gandhi, Rabindranath Tagore. Of course, Mother Teresa was very important in that time, but I never thought that I will be part of her. But these people were my influence, following their life. So the philosophy came very clearly that I will not grow vertically, I will grow horizontally. What does horizontal growth means? Means that I have the capacity now to be rich, to have 3 houses, to have 5 cars, that I can do maybe. But that is for me a vertical growth because I am growing myself. No. I need a car, I will have it. I need a house, I will have it. After that, not a growth for the house, a car. Then if I can do something, it have to be a contribution for the one who needs me the most. I mean the poor one, really downtrodden one, underprivileged, whom I have seen, whom I was part of it. I have clear experience. I can visualize their problem and I can really see how useful I am and how can I help them even. Now after these 28 years of my work, with that initiatives, we have been able to construct 32 schools. I could have 2-3 cars, but that I do not need. In 32 schools, 9,000 children, first generation learner going to the school. That is important for me. I am very fortunate that really it's very special because in our lifetime, there is only one Mother Teresa existed in the world. And incidentally, fortunately, she was in Calcutta, living in my city, there. I'm talking about 1990, 89, 90. Is not only a Nobel Prize winner, Mother Teresa, she's a people call Mother of the Universe. She received me, engaged me as a medical director of Missionaries of Charity. I think she understood when I met her first, she could understood the importance of me and also possibly by talking that the intention, the outlook I have. So I think she visualized there are so many possibility with this young man. One day she told me, you see, so beautiful that she said, Doctor, possibly we cannot do great thing in our lifetime, but we can do small thing with great love. And then she's so generous even, because she is a nun. She lives in convent. I am a doctor, conventional doctor. And she told me one day, Doctor, start your own mission. You are much more educated person, do something more for the people, do not stay with Catholic nuns. So she's generous because she could captivate me, okay, stay here, serve my people. She found really the possibilities. And she said, do something more for the people, start your own mission. I went out, start the mission, Institute for Indian Mother and Child. I want to save life. I want to improve the situation. I want to empower the people. And there are so many in that, you see. 1990s, rural India, epidemics, famine. People never meet a doctor. But problem is they have no money. They cannot give you anything. They can give you love, yes. Nothing more than. So I have to respect the love. So I decided I went to the deep rural village, started in a really very humble, simple way. In fact, renting a little cow house with 50 rupees in a month, started as a doctor, first day 5 patients, me, very good, 10 patients, 20 patients. But as doctor, I was bit really like very anonymous, unknown. But as a doctor, it works because people started to come to doctor. So after 3 months, I found my way really as a doctor because everybody started to say, there is a doctor coming. I was going till now once in a week, rest of the day working with Mother Teresa. I remember it was Friday afternoon. so in a village, and after 3 months I found that I am very useful. Though money is not there, but I am useful. And people needs me. I am doing goods, curing, healing, saving life. But I continued the work. I found that I am useful, but where the infrastructure, where the resource financial, you need some really money, medicine. Their answer was, when I was leaving Mother Teresa, I was asking Mother, you asked me to do something more. How will you do? Where the money will come from? She told me that, Dr. Sujit, continue the work for the good work for the people. For good work, money should not be a problem. But really, I was not happy. I started to discover that I am not doing very much because patients are increasing, not decreasing. That was first striking. First day 50%, 200, 300, 500. Hey, what is happening here? I'm not helping the people because the one I was curing, after 1 week or after 1 month, coming back with the same problem, inviting his neighbor or neighbor village. Come on, there is a good doctor. You know, the problem was, now I discovered, because now 3 years done, I discovered that that's the thing I want to tell, that we all development workers from all over the world go to poor countries. We are very good, we are really prudent, we are very sincere, but we make sometimes a big mistake that we go somewhere in a poor country, poor place, jump on it, and we do what we know. No, that should not be. We should do what they need. Then I discovered that the problem is not medical. There are so many patients coming, but the problem is educational and economical. These people who are coming in the village, 80% of them cannot even identify alphabet, number, read and write. And then this about 60%, they are coming, if you ask them, they are not eating even 2 meals in a day. The project, my name, our expansion, our friends we developed, it went on, expanded. So also our friends started to support, to build the school, to sponsor the children. And it got its really momentum, very nice way. So you see now, in this last 15 years, the education program, this 15 years time, we have been able to construct 32 schools. In this 32 schools, 9,000 children, first generation learner in the rural area, going to the school. This is in the running tube. About another 15 to 20,000, they have already finished their primary education. Apart from that, we have also, because one after one problem come, we have to solve, because we found there are children have no parents, or difficult parents, or alcoholic parents. We have to do something. So we established orphanage, hostel, residential. So we have 3 different hostels, orphanages for the boys, and 2 for the girls. One for the daycare center, that's mothers, working mothers, they can keep their children. Another one, the handicapped girl child. Your girl child in our country is kind of, being girl you are handicapped, and if you are really kind of handicapped physically, this way or that way, you are double handicapped. Nobody wants you. So my wife also decided to make a home for them. All the people we are working are volunteers. We don't give them really a salary, because I have no capacity to give the salary. How? Because the project goes on mostly private donors, not the government or agency donors, private friend donors. So all my friends, private donor wants, their money should go to the project, to the people, to the poor people directly. So I felt it that I am not allowed to spend a lot of money for the salary, because if I really give the salary, 60 to 80% money will go to the salary. My donors will say, hey, what you are doing? Your money is going to the salary, I gave it for the poor people. So I designed it opposite way. It's a bit hard in the beginning, but it's possible. If you really design from the beginning as a volunteer organization, and you look for volunteer only, and who are able to be volunteer, they will join with you. You get some fund, call these mothers of sponsored child, those who have confidence with me, I know them, 100 only. I told them very strongly one day, they are mothers. You are poor, but you are not beggar. You have to start a business from tomorrow. And they said, yes, doctor, you want to do something, but where is the money? And you know, they're so poor, microcredit meaning is $50 to $100. That is enough to start with. That's my, you can give $50 to start a little business. But this mother have no $50 at a time, never. They cannot have it because they live hands to mouth. Or even not every day hands to mouth. One day work, something, somebody give, next day no work, looking to the sky. So this $50 is already something, but for me, this time I have the friend, I could collect this thing. But I am not agreed to give them as a donation that, okay, $50 after 10 days you come back for another $50. But I want to see that $50 after 1 year, $50, but the profit he has got, he lives. No, I do not need the profit. So I get the donor, you see. So started with 100 mother, only 9-10 years before. And you see, this program has the power. I found at the end of the year, these 100 mothers, only 1-2 mother has lost something by accidentally. Every mother has the business earning something, eating 2 meal in a day, putting a little profit apart, what he is giving back to me, that money I give to others. So you see, very simple, where there is a will, there is a way. My friend donor, they wanted to give some more money. More mother come. Within these 10 years, 9 microcredit bank, 120 people working with 30,000 mothers. This 30,000 family is eating 2 meal in a day, and 98% money they give back only accidentally. If something happened, they fail, but in the program itself has a kind of insurance. Like if a mother really, like he has a cow is dead, then he have not to give the money. We'll give again a loan. So it works in 2 ways. One is, first you go to the mothers, you gather them, you first propose how many mother you already know something to do. So many of them will come, okay, I know how to make tea, and you can make a tea shop. If I know very well, I have a big pond, I can put the fish, but I have no capital. I can put a poultry. So many will propose something, but 50% will even say, I do not know anything. There you are as an organization, you are leader, your role come. There you have to really come forward to teach them something, to tell them something, to find a way. So it becomes self-sufficient. It's the most beautiful, successful program now. There are mothers, they could not do anything even exercise book, whatever, but they can keep very well cow. Cow is very important for Indian people. So we gave 200 mothers selected, 200 cows to produce milk. You see how far you can go. Now the village people, poor people have 200 people have milk, but who will buy your milk? Everybody is poor. So you go further, you see. So he said, we will set up that we will make a milk cooperative, we will buy the milk. Because somebody have to buy. Because she has the cow, she has the loan. If she can sell the milk, then the profit, she has the profit. We have 30,000 mothers in the village business doing. They were not educated, you said so-called, that's nothing. But we found, you see how we are going one after one, going to introduce now social project, really, making the mother socially, culturally, intellectually self-sufficient. Because till now, you see, we have done great work, medical, education, economics. The 4th dimension of life, the social empowerment, I mean, making a mother part of the society really, leadership, social worker, talking. So, you see, this is completely fundamental to me really. It's not even Muhammad Yunus or nobody. Because I personally one day start to discover, hey, our mothers are very backward socially. They don't sing, they don't go for theater, drama, they think it's not for them, they don't give a speech. No, but that many mothers, these 30,000, many are clever because we are interacting regularly. They really want to talk, they want to go further. So let's develop another platform, completely purely, nothing to do with medicine, education, economics, kind of health support. Here we said that, okay, we'll develop a platform where this clever mother who are more advanced can practice their social life. So each village from all mother, we selected, this is a selection, selected 10 mothers who are the most bright, who want to talk, they are not shy, they need a platform only. They like to talk, really. They like to sing, but nobody asked them. So we said, okay, we develop giving the name Women Peace Council. Idea is that they will become now a social worker like us. Even this poor mother who are coming to beg or hanging malnourished to my clinic outdoor waiting hours, they are now medically, educationally, economically empowered. I'm not telling they are rich, but they have just enough. Now I have the idea to make them local social worker. Look, after this 26, 28 years of our work, medically, educationally, economically, socio-culturally, this way or that way, we are really an established entity. You see that only few years before, started by one doctor, 5 patients, is now the biggest volunteer organization in our state. 700 people volunteer full-time working in 30 campuses. So we have definitely a role, we feel it that we are doing something, it is an entity. And we will survive because as it is a beautiful, good work, we have friends all over the world. They see it, they can visualize it, so I believe in it, it will go on. But our expansion will be more for the economical upliftment. Women Peace Council, social entrepreneurship, school, constructing a school, one more school. I'm not going to build maybe one more health center, but my ambition is if I can construct every year one school. Because as many as children you can send to the school, you solve the problem. Solving problem is the importance. It's not just healing, curing. It's not the symptoms you treat. I don't want more patient, I want less patient come to me. So solve the problem. Medical problem, if you touch in the secondary, tertiary level, is very, very costly. Medical service is the most costly service. Do it in primary level. 80% of the medical problem you can solve with the primary health care, public health, preventive medicine. So I will do something this more. But even not primary health, you can solve this medical problem with primary education. Teach them what is basic hygiene, what is good water, what is bad water, what is bacteria, virus. Tell them, they will not become sick. We are shouting in India, people sick, dying, problem, but go to the root and do it. Problem is nobody is interested because if you go for the public health, primary health care, it is not a news. If you make a heart surgery, it's a big news in the newspaper. Nobody wants news, that doctor has done that things. But because of the heart reason a child die, is a death. But for the malnutrition a child die, what is also death. But if you send for the heart surgery, it's a question of really $3,000-4,000. Or for the malnutrition, it's a glass of milk. Which one is better choice? So people want news they don't like. Give the attention where is needed. So not only primary health, build school, put all children. If I would be the Prime Minister of the country, first thing I would do is putting a primary school in every village. That's the first job. But unfortunately it does not happen because the world in our country, this is not that idealistic. We are not that prudent, I think, because we are 20% people privileged. We remain they are privileged. We don't bother very much what is 80% people, what is happening with them. I'm not very ambitious that I have to go to paradise, I have to be such rich, but my ambition is that if I can build one more school each year, if I can give more coverage, more 9,000, 10,000, 20,000 children can come to the school, educated, open their eyes, can read and write, can understand the world, visualize the world a little bit more. That is really my ambition or success. There I find the meaning of my life.